Folks, while the credits roll, please welcome the director of the film, Asaf Saban. Asaf, thank you so much. Thank you for a beautiful film. Before I get started on the film, I have to give a big thank you to the person who makes all this possible, and that's Ms. Carole Zabar, who's sitting in the back.
Hi, thank you.
She missed her thank yous on opening night because she came late, so I'm giving them to her now. Thank you. I have a lot of questions about a lot of it. But what I want to start by saying, first of all, the film was just released in Israel, and it's getting, check out the reviews in Israel. Rave reviews, like nothing you've ever seen. People are connecting to this film, I believe, all over the world. Tell us a little bit about, let's start from the beginning. Where did the idea come from? Where did this all start for you?
Hi again. Thank you for coming. Actually, this film started out by chance, I would say. I had another film, another big project that I was waiting for it to happen. So I was kind of thinking, how should I get back into, I would say, the filmmaking part of being a filmmaker and not sitting and waiting for financing. So one Saturday, my brother showed me the piece of land where he was about to start building his house. And while he was pointing on the bush and saying, this is where the kitchen is going to be, etc., I was drifting elsewhere in my mind. And really, it was the closest to have an enlightenment in my creative life. And really this idea of, I would say, constructing a fictional story with that backdrop. I didn't know much back then, and I would say the challenge was that the construction was about to start, because not like the script, I would say the script of the house, the whole construction was already finished, and they were about to start building. So I had to act quickly. So I constructed, I would say, you call it a treatment, just like an idea, a construction of the story, and obviously casted the two lead actors. And we started going. I had, with the other people that joined in, all of them are friends. I had some, let's say, framework to work within. I knew I wanted the whole film to take place within the location, that the house itself would become, I would say, another silent protagonist, and to use the seasons and to keep it as modest and intimate as possible, partly because of production challenges. And what happened after 3 days of shooting, that Noah Kohler, the incredible leading actress.
She was here also in our Sleeping Bears series that we showed, and we've seen her also in the
Wedding Plan.
The Wedding Plan, if you've seen that.
So after the 3rd day of shooting, she told me there's something she needs to tell me. So the whole pregnancy was both real and not originally in the script. That's... And my initial response was kind of, not shocked, but it kind of, I immediately told her, well, I guess Yara will become pregnant soon then. And that's what actually happened. And it obviously brought a lot of, I would say, content or another layer to the whole story.
I'm interested, where did it go if she wasn't pregnant? Same ending, same direction with different curves along the way?
I have to admit, I don't remember. It became very evident.
How long did this whole process take? How long does it take to build build a house in Israel? Is that?
Well, my brother is not typical in any way, so I don't know if it's statistically average. But the filming took about 1 year and 4 months. We shot on weekends once a month, something like that. And just like this hideout, it's literally 300 meters away from my brother's house. We didn't set it up. I tried to bring in as much as possible from whatever reality and life bringing. Also, the floor layer and the painter are both the actual workers. So, yeah. But just to clarify something, it's not improvised as it looks like. I mean, I really try to make it as spontaneous and free as possible, but a lot of thought and rehearsal were made in order to make it such spontaneous.
Now, it's very clear with the fluid camera that this all takes rehearsal and a lot of spotting of where everybody needs to be at what time to say what line, and it's timed and put together really beautifully. I'm going to ask the question because everybody wants to know. So at the end, let's talk about the ending, right? We want to talk about the ending. Anyone else a little bit in the dark? What can you share? Don't just leave it up to us.
In general, I can tell you that it's a matter of taste, but as a viewer, I always prefer not to be told how I should feel or what should I think. I don't like to be spoon-fed, and then I try to treat the same way others. But that sometimes makes some frustration or some... in general, I think that today people are used to be told how they should think. And I say that just as an introduction to a simple fact that I truly believe in, that my own intentions or I would say interpretations are not better than anyone else's. And the thing I like the most is to hear things that I've never thought about. But I can still share you mine. This ending was one of the only things that I knew from the beginning, like how I wanted to end. I'm a big believer in irony in general. I think it brings a lot to our life. It's a tool, a survival tool for people who live in certain areas. And
it's the third largest religion in Israel, I hear.
Actually, I think that in Israel, many people lost their irony. It's a more Jewish thing than Israeli, to my opinion. But anyway, I wanted, for me, the basic theme of the film is this tension between reality and fantasy. And I wanted to, in some way, to make, I would say, a happy ending, but something that will be like a bittersweet, I would say, or something that will bring back the fantasy after such a rooted reality that you kind of find yourself dealing with. And I think I really feel embarrassed interpreting it myself, but I will do it quickly. I think that they in some way had to choose between their own relationship and the house. Like the house, the walls became too much filled with, things that they can't really deal with right now. So that's, I would say, a kind of a straight, direct interpretation.
I'll give you mine and tell you that I was talking to somebody upstairs before, and he was saying that in New York, there's, I think, 3 reasons that you can get divorced. If you cheat on your wife, if one cheats on the other. I forget what his second one was, and the third one, real estate, and just doing any kind of renovation to an apartment. And I don't know if many people in this room have been through it, and definitely it's a trying experience, and having them at the end, say, okay, this is not what makes our marriage. It's process. We might have managed to build this beautiful home, but this process is not what it's about. It's actually about bigger things, and we can move on from this process.
Definitely, yeah.
My take. I would love to get some questions or comments from the audience, and hear some of the feedback. We got a question right here. We'll take this guy in there.
Why did you, in English, give it a different name, and why that one?
I don't have a straight answer. I'm not sure it's the best name. We have a cocktail afterwards, so we'll have it.
I'll tell you that there's a long history of English titles and Hebrew titles not matching each other, and it's good that you kept with that. I'm glad to see it lives on.
No, but
My favorite was the naked gun, Ha'egdach met mitzchok. The gun died of laughter. Yeah.
Laughter, yeah.
I just want clarification of what was going on at the end. I'm sorry, I just got confused. Was that not their house, or was that their house? Somebody else was moving in?
Moving in, yeah. They decided to go abroad for a while. And
They find them on Airbnb or where? No.
Actually, the real house, my brother's house, is on Airbnb. So, because he's a vagabond by heart, so he's.
He actually uses the movie to promote it. You can stay for a night in that house in the Galil. It's a beautiful vacation. You could reenact the sex scene. And I've heard there's been some comments about that sex scene, by the way.
Yeah, obviously.
I applaud it. I don't. I'm not afraid of it. Let's take some other comments though. That right here.
Basically, you say that you knew what's going to be the end, right? And whatever I see, it's they're building a house, and the relationship they have between them, it's basically is the house. And when you see when she met the friend with the daughter, the Dutch one, so she looked at them, I understand right away she's missing something about love, about the real things.
Passion, yeah.
So when she asking about the end can be many things. Basically, when they finish the house, it's mean what? The relationship ending, or because the building of the house, it was all about the relationship, nothing else.
I can. There wasn't a question, but it reminded me.
No.
Okay.
So my question is, whatever she asking is, the end can be it's open question. Mm-hmm. What you basically wants me to think about the end, or you keep me with the open question?
Yeah, it's an open question, but I have something which relates to your question that I happily share with you. I think, in a way, the fact that I think human beings in general, they always seek happiness elsewhere. This is something, and you always find yourself there, wherever you go. So I like the idea that, they are still in some way of avoiding, like this going abroad thing is another, escape, I would say. It's obvious that they will keep on arguing after this first week of, being tourists. So I don't mean to say that they haven't learned anything. I just think it's a never-ending, kind of chase or a struggle, whatever. So the fact that I like the fact that they might still argue abroad. That's, yeah.
Please wait for the microphone, sir. Thank you.
The beauty of the movie is the performance of your leading actress, who is capable of encompassing so many different colors. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the movie is so good. Because the scene with the ex-boyfriend, I disagree with what the gentleman said. It's not just where the passion is. Sure, she had passion with him, but it doesn't mean she doesn't have passion with her husband. I don't think so at all. And they argue, and this and this and all that, but she's also a woman that can move on with her husband elsewhere. And I think he has to go through a crisis. He needs to adjust to something. She's far beyond him. And I think that's the beauty of your movie. It's an extraordinarily powerful relationship.
Thank you.
I will remind everyone here that you bring your own experiences to the way you watch these films. And we're going to take one more here in the middle, if that's okay.
So this is a bigger question than just relationships. This is a huge question.
I'm sitting.
This is about the state of Israel. Approximately 75% of Israel is the Galil and the Negev. And as I was watching it, I was thrilled to all of a sudden see a young couple who can't afford to live in Tel Aviv, just as many young people all over the world cannot live in the major cities. and affordable housing came into my mind, and Israelis having an opportunity to live in Israel instead of leaving abroad. So it was a big disappointment, even though I love the picture, I love the acting, but I would have loved to see, maybe allmovement.org that is working so hard on trying to build the 75% of the Galil and the Negev, so that the young people in Israel, now that they've seen a great picture, would not say, oh my God, I gotta search a better love and passion in the rest of the world, but to find it in Eretz Israel. So the Nehedar, I loved it, the Mashu, but I really would have loved to have seen a positive end to an affordable housing in the Galil. Thank you.
There's something.
She's running for prime minister.
Yeah, no, there wasn't a question again, but I have an answer. Still, a very Israeli thing. No, I can tell you, I was born over there and raised, not only in Israel, in a hill next to that one. That's where I was born and raised. And I lived for the last, I would say, about 15 years in Tel Aviv. So I know both worlds very well. I'm not just seeing this pastoral scenery when I'm coming there. And I'm not only, I would say, impressed or, the city life is not something that I know both worlds from inside out. And I would say what I said before about irony, I think that the fact that I really familiar with both worlds helped me, or that was, again, my wish to create something which is not positive or negative, not looking at, pointing at what is wrong or, right. And that's kind of an answer for your statement. And because of the cocktail...
No. I'm going to add to it a little bit. Well, yeah. I think one of the beautiful things about this film is actually the normality of this couple. The universality of it, and the fact that they're not moving to the Galil because it's part of Eretz HaKodesh or because of Zionist reasons. They're moving to the Galil because she was born there, and that's home. And that is the most normal Israeli existence, and that's what most people in Israel today it wasn't always the case. At the beginning of Israel, most people were not from Israel. Today, most people living in Israel were born there, and their connection to it is much deeper, I'd say, than Zionism or any of these statements, but rather the connection of it being where they're from. And it makes it into something that goes on everywhere else in the world, and it's no different than somebody living in New York and deciding to move upstate and having that connection to the country.
And I want to add something which can conclude, our talk. I believe that beyond politics, there's many things, there's many conflicts, there's many issues that at the end of the day, everyone has his own life and inner problems. And that's, again, something that you expect from cinema, from a certain place in the world to portray or to deal with. And I'm not sure it's always for the right of the art, I would say, because people are people. And sometimes it's true, there's always this layer or this perspective that you can add in. But, there's also everyday issues that people are dealing with. And this is something that for me is important.
And I think ultimately you brought out the human stories of the people and not necessarily, you did have that long shot of the Galil at the end, but other than that, it was focused on the people. There's so much more to say and there's so much more to discuss. Let's do it upstairs over some dessert.
Thank you for coming.
The quick way, the shortcut cut up, because you don't want to wait for the elevators, trust me, is up these stairs here and then to the left and take the next staircase up. And that'll take you right to the reception in the lobby. Thank you very much.